Really? You came back? I'm surprised. Don't worry. We are making more progress. Probably, maybe, definitely not no running of the car today. Definitely no running. Definitely not no running. The car won't go today. Wiring. More spaghetti. Let's have a look at that. So the old girl's moved off the hoist. It's on the ground. It's kicked around on a bit of an angle because we don't have much room in here. So it's nice to have the space to get the driver's door open. And the boot here, a few things that have been kicked out of the cabin. I got sick and tired of tripping over these. The car was all wired up by an auto sparky. He put an alarm and wired up some speaker wires and all that sort of carry on. And it was all hardwired, like you couldn't unplug it and shift it out of the way. It was literally, that was it. So, and in the end, I've just lost my temper with it. Cut the wires. I'll put it all back in later. I will terminate it all correctly. So engine bay. Yeah, this is, I remember the fella, oh my god, well, I hope the customer's not paying for that mess. It's still a mess. Get over it. More things going in here though. This is our wire for our intercooler pump. It won't go across the top there. It's going to tuck down. Our intercooler pump is actually in here somewhere. We've got our headlight wiring back in. We've actually got headlights back in. And they go now. I've made those go. So that's a massive leap forward for mankind. Windscreen wiper motor wiring. Now normally this would have come from this point here. And it would come across the engine bay like this. And it would have gone along here. I think I explained this in the previous video. Out through the hole in the front. Down here somewhere. Back up into the guard. Inside the guard. All the way along there, through the side panel, above where your feet go, into the instrument cluster and fuse box area and all that sort of carry on. So, and behind here is a little electric motor controller unit that controls the speed of the windscreen wiper motors. I'm not kidding you, that's how they did it back in the day. So now the wiring for this motor here, it starts here and behind the dash with the switches and the resistor, variable resistor, that controls the speed of that motor that I just pointed out that's in here. The wiring goes from in there, through here to here, back through there, across the inside of the dash, through the firewall where the engine harness is, up there, across there to there. And what that means is it's a little bit shorter. It's not really going to make any difference in the scheme of things. But it just removes the need for any wiring here. You don't have it anymore, so it'll keep it tidier. Kind of hoping we won't have any wiring at all that's not directly on the engine in the engine bay. We do have a couple of fans to run in the front here, which I've not sorted out yet. So there's still more spaghetti to come through here. So it's not finished because of what I just said. And this is this is a mess. But what I've just done here is I've deleted the original headlight control relay box and put some modern relays in there. Now, because this isn't finished, by the way, as you can see by these cheap terminals, this all needs to go onto these newer plugs over here. We've got a lot of wires that are a lot longer than they need to be, just for the purpose of testing that and making sure I've got this right and actually working correctly. So because of the way they've wired up this switch here, it resulted in us having to have 3 relays. But it's alright, it's done, it works. Lower resistance than the older box and less likely to fail. The other one had actually failed. I wired it all up and it just wasn't working. We didn't have low beam. Took it apart, fixed that problem. Yay, good, all go. And then after testing it 5 or 6 times, it just stopped altogether. We had no headlights at all. At which point I said, right, you're fired. See you later. Put it on the bench. New relays. Still heaps to do here. This harness that comes through from the rear, much longer than it needs to be now. Many wires to cut out, so heaps for me to do. I'll get all this done so it's all done before it goes on dyno. Running out of time, sort of, but I mean we could run it as it is, so it's no big deal. Cool. Right, now that that install on there is 100% complete and ready to go, jump in and drive. Don't mind the battery. Got the seat, put the driver's seat in there. And actually there's a toolkit there too in case, well, I mean, when it breaks down. The reality is if you drove it like that, vice grips on the steering column, it'll be sorted. But anyway, moving on, I need to get the main battery cable from aft to fore, and battery cable, it's reasonably easy to get hold of, but I stumbled across some jumper cables, 4 meters long, which is heaps enough, really good sized cable as far as diameter and insulation on them, etc. 850 amps it's rated at. It's heaps for the starter mode, heaps, way heaps. Normally battery cables about 30 bucks a meter. That was 175 bucks, and basically there's 8 meters of cable there and some alligator clamps, so that was cheaper to buy. That it was on special, cheaper to buy that than to buy a cable. And mine, chop added advantage here, pre-terminated cable. That's awesome. That's actually got the exact size terminal that we need on the end of that to go onto our battery. So all I need now is an insulator to go over the end of the positive terminal on each end, and we're good as gold. Might even be able to route this so we can use terminals on both ends. It won't even be excessively long. So this is good. This is good. And here is looking somewhat tidier. Look at that. That's not finished. Don't forget, that's not finished yet. There's some clamps and things to hold these cables and harnesses in the appropriate places. Once we've finished tuning, painting the inside, welding up chassis rails, all that sort of carry on. Main battery cable. It came out really well. Like, it is a little bit longer than what we needed, but not much. It's like, I think it was like 5 inches. I couldn't be bothered shortening it up. That's pretty much pointless. ECU wiring looking much better. Not finished, but much better. Still some, those CAN wires hanging off there. Still some wires that we need to remove from the harnesses. Look at this big mess. Oh, come on, crash the gimbal. There we go. There's a big mess up under there. Mess. Well, it's really just coils of excess wires. So there's a couple of those we need for wheel speed sensors. Other than that, we're not going to use any more of those, I don't think. So I'll remove them from the plugs when we get to that point. And still, bird's nest over here that needs sorting out. But we're getting there. Most of what you see there on the floor, that's excess from that harness there, which will now be shorter than what it was before for some reason. But whatever, that'll work. And so I've just, it's not really 100% ready to go. I haven't got an earth cable on the battery yet, so just at the moment I've got the other half of those jumper cables we just chopped up, and that's my earth. But I have just powered everything up and run the fuel pumps for the first time with the actual ignition key, which is on the steering column over there. So I haven't yet turned the key to start it because you might be able to see it, the footage might not be good enough. That white wire that runs across the top of the transmission tunnel there and into nowhere, into thin air, that's actually the motor for the starter solenoid, the wire for the starter solenoid. So what I'm going to do, I haven't shown you this piece actually, this is quite interesting. I've got a firewall bulkhead fitting, so it runs the main battery cable through the firewall insulator. So that's quite nice, we don't have to poke the cable, literally the cable through the firewall somewhere. We can actually just bolt it on each side, so that's really cool. They weren't cheap, but whatever. So while I've got that there, I'm going to put a relay in this general area somewhere so that we don't have to run all the power for the starter solenoid through the key. Seeing as the keys had a bit of a hard life, we'll run just a relay. So one of these wires here, I don't even know which one it is. Oh, it might be this one here. That's my starter wire. So all I need to do is put that into the one side of the coil on the relay. The other side goes to ground. We'll take power from here and we'll run it into here. And in fact, it would then just start. If I flip that cover off and touch that on the end of there, it would crank, but it won't go because nothing else is on. So we're getting there. later on in this video will be the first, I hope, first official start using all of its bits and bobs. No jumper cables, no fiddling up, boogieing up with an extra battery down here to run power to the ECU. It'll actually start by itself, as it should do. So, starter motor's just temporarily hooked up because we have to put the alarm system back in it later on. So I haven't got carried away with that. Now we're going to turn the key. There we go. Okay, fuel pumps ran, turned off. Well, at least one of them did. Hard to know if it's both. Unable to connect to the ECU. Oh yeah, alright. I bet you can. There we go. So we'll go runtime values. What do we got here? General. We should have our oil pressure and all that sort of carry on. Stuff and things. Temperatures. Hasn't started. This is genuinely going to be oil pressure 0. We'll see. Genuinely go and flick the key and see if this starts. And I'm not going to edit this out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're out of gear. We've got a flat battery. Sod. Okay, so I need to put a I need to put a jumper pack on that, or charge the battery up. I think I'll just charge the battery up and give it a go after that. So we'll try again in a few seconds, a couple of minutes. Okay, so a little bit later in the day, another 20 litres of fuel in the tank, and I'll get that out of the way. A bit more electricity in the battery. So that was quite flat. I wasn't even getting a signal of the engine cranking over. Why aren't we getting on? Oh, there we go. Key's not the best, but it probably will be alright. We can't actually just replace it because it's so old. Let's do this in real time again. Let's see if it goes bad like it did last time. Turn the key in. Oh no, it doesn't go. Hit the R button, get some runtime values. What are we on? Digital. I don't want digital. I want general. Gives us a whole heap of things. Is voltage on there somewhere? Meh. Can't see it. Not looking. No, I can't see it. That's right. I want to see if the alternator's charging later on. So anyway, second attempt at turning the key. That's right, isn't it? Oil pressure's good. Oh, battery voltage, there we go. It's 14.3, so it's charging. We don't have an alternator light at the moment. We're doing 1100 RPM. It's good, eh? We can run it a little bit longer now because we are actually charging, and we have coolant in the tank. We're still look at that. This thing's jealous now. Both pumps are going. That's good. So we're not going to empty the surge tank. I'll put my earth cable on it there, so that's all done properly now. That doesn't sound good, eh? Cam gear, so we need to run that backwards and forwards a couple of times to see if it quietens down. This side's alright. Pretty consistent tuck 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 on this side. Yeah, something to look into. Fixed. Amazing, eh? You guys will crack up at this. See this bung? Pull some crankcase vacuum. And before too long, big crankcase. Here it goes. Not sure if you can hear it. I can hear it. I can feel it there too. It'll get louder and louder. As you pull crankcase vacuum, it pulls the baffle inside the cam cover down and touches against the camshaft. You take it away, and the noise goes away. So I still need to build our catch can here. Everyone knows that, right? So I shouldn't be running it with that blanked off, but it won't hurt anything. Bit of a leak there to fix. A couple of leaks on the radiator I know about actually I need to deal with, but there we go. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I'll close that because I know everything's good. We can give it just a bit more of the old vroom vroom now. So, yes. Look, smoke's gone. No smoke. Oh, I better turn this off or I'll annoy my neighbours. Go. Right, so speaking of neighbours, they're just coming home, that's the noise. So all that functions perfectly, alternator's working, oil pressure's good, water temp and everything's all good. Leaks, I need to fix the leaks. We've got no fans on the radiator, they're on the shelf over there somewhere, so they need to go on. We'll put this back on for now so we don't get debris in there. This needs to be mounted. We don't want that rattling around, hammering itself to death while she's on the dyno. And speaking of dyno, well, I need to get a new clutch master cylinder too. I was going to do that. It'd be nice to leave the old one in there, but it's just going to fail, cause problems. So if we can source a new one, we'll do that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to clean the mess here. But Kimberley Tool and Design in Waihi, they've provided us with the centres for our pulleys. So I'm going to machine out that. That gets pressed onto there, a couple of TIG welds, that's it, there's a pulley. I should have actually got them to do 3. What I might do, if we need we certainly know they can make them anyway, if we need a smaller one than that to make more boost, we can get them to do that for us. But I think we're at about 11 psi with this one, and that's plenty enough for a standard motor, in my opinion. So there you go, next video probably, not definitely, but probably on the dyno over in Tauranga, getting this beastie all sorted out. So like, share, subscribe, please share it around, help me out. I need to make a little bit more than 50 cents a day from my videos if we can. I'm just joking. Yeah, it's just good to get some feedback and get it out there. People enjoy this sort of thing, so show it to your mates and all that sort of carry on. Hopefully we don't have any disasters. Don't show it to your mates when there's disasters. Right, cheers guys, bye.